Enough is enough. The job market is quite simply a jungle. Applying for 126 jobs to receive 100 rejection emails with the other 26 lost in the wind.
It's a no?
No.
Or to take on freelancing and to do all you can to organically capture your ideal clients while wrestling with the idea of returning back to the jungle to pay to live. Or running a business and battling with the constant noise of everyone telling you that people buy into the person before the brand. But you can't seem to find a formula of being yourself that feels authentic because it becomes a necessary requirement. So, to potential hiring corporate brands, future clients, and soon to be consumers, I'm creating an interview video available for you to view whenever you need to. It will be filled with generic questions that we tend to get asked in interviews and a few more that should be asked to really get to know someone. Why? Well, I'm sick of being judged by the one-page CV that does nothing to actually show the person I actually am. No phone call, let alone an in-person meet. The multiple frameworks I've constructed to support those I want to reach, but potentially not fully trusted because you don't know the person behind the PDF. And well, if I have to be the brand to sell the brand, then I'm gonna be the brand. The interview that you've missed out on will happen right here and be accessible to all because initiative is one of my many qualities. Saving you time and resources is just a plus. So let's get straight into it. Who are you when nobody is watching and you're not performing a role or a title? It's taken me a while to express who I am when it's not attached to a role or performing, because I feel like when asked that question, it's always in relation to a job or something that needs to be done. So I find it really difficult to just naturally just answer that without including work, but I'm going to try my best. This has not been rehearsed. So I am quiet, I would say. Not shy, but quiet. I like to observe. I like to listen to music and be immersed in it. I like to listen to sermons and teachings that speak life into me. I find joy in worship. I find joy when being surrounded by family who I know love me and I can be my most authentic self. I find joy in just existing in spaces where I don't have to perform. And who I am is who I am. I'm a child of God. I'm someone that every single day strives to be better in every way. And that is not, it's become less about professional, it's become less about like professional movement and more about my character, who I am as a person, how kind I am, how much I help people, my compassion, my empathy, patience, working on things that sometimes we just overlook because it is just who we are. But I think who I am when I'm not performing is working on being a better version of me, because there is always more that can be done. There is always improvement that can be made. And I know that there are things that need to be worked on, like patience, as mentioned. I've come so far with it, but there's still so much more to work on. And I think who I am when no one is watching is someone that is working on the future me. What are your strengths and weaknesses? I've always found this question quite tough because in the past, I've always been able to reel off weaknesses. But when it comes to strengths, I've struggled. And this is a question that I've always prepared for beforehand because I know it's going to be asked, but I haven't prepared for it. But I'm going to start with strengths because, we'll start with weaknesses and finish with strengths. I would say that my biggest weakness has been trying to do everything myself and not asking for help. And some of that comes down to impatient. Like sometimes I just want to get things done and I know I can get it done to the quality that I want it, and waiting on someone will just take longer. That has probably been my biggest weakness. However, being in roles where I am leading, and that has been for the last 10 years, I've had to shift that because delegation is key. And without it, I wouldn't have been able to be as good at my roles as I have been. However, that doesn't mean that at times that weakness hasn't crept in, especially when there's pressure coming and it's like, right, this needs to be done. And instead of me telling someone or explaining or coaching, there have been times when I have been like, right, I'm going to do this, you do this, and I'm going to do this. Whereas it shouldn't be that way. So I think that has been my biggest weakness generally. And that is not even in just work, but that is in life. Like, people taking too long to do things has grated on me in the past, but we're working on it. I think my biggest strength is self-awareness and accountability, knowing that I'm not perfect and there are things that I need to work on, like my weaknesses. And every day I do what I can to work on it. And when these things come up, I recognize it and kind of take it captive. I think that I know that is my biggest strength right now, is being able to call myself out, take criticism, hear people, take correction, and use it to better myself.
What motivates you?
This has definitely changed over the last 2 years, 3 years ago, my answer would be completely different to what it is today. But honestly, what motivates me is knowing that I have a purpose, knowing that I am alive to fulfill God's will keeps me motivated. Knowing that I'm not alone, knowing that I have always been taken care of, and knowing that there's so much that I can and will accomplish as long as I persevere keeps me motivated. In the days where I just want to lay down and do nothing, or give up, or just eat something that I know I shouldn't eat that's going to make me feel sick. Sometimes I do that. But a lot of the times I fight against it because I know that there's greatness waiting, and it's up to me how quickly I get there. I think for many years, I've allowed self doubt and just negativity to creep in and to kind of hold me back. Whereas now, none of that is attached to me. Like, I know the greatness that is in front, and I know that it's going to take perseverance. And I know that perseverance builds character. And I feel like my character is progressing and becoming more and more robust every single day because I know these things. And waking up in the morning and reading my book and saying a prayer motivates me to get on with the day because I know who I am. Whereas beforehand, I would say that I was motivated by success. But when I say success, I mean what the world says is successful. You know, I'm motivated by a holiday that I'm going on, or motivated by buying this new thing that I want. Whereas now, there's no material surface thing that motivates me at all. And I'm so happy about that, because if I was still reliant on these material things, then I wouldn't be motivated a lot of the times, because, you know, that dopamine rush would fall apart. Like, you get it and then it just drops. Whereas this motivation comes from within and is something that will never change as long as I keep my eyes fixated on on God ultimately, and just walking forward and taking steps, no matter how many, even if, you know, I'm dragging my feet, as long as I'm moving forward, I'm getting somewhere. And that is my motivation. And the reason why that's so important, especially work, is because no matter what, I know that I have a purpose to fulfill. And if that day my purpose to is to complete this task, then I'm going to do it, because I know that small task is part of something so much bigger. So yeah, that's what motivates me.
How does your brain work when you see a failing system, an underperforming brand, or a missed opportunity?
You know, my brain works one of two ways. If everything looks good from what I just look at, then my brain automatically questions what's going on behind closed doors, because we can all present ourselves as nicely as we want, and we can add sparkles and we can put out whatever we want. But if we do that, and that can be seen by my naked eye, but I'm aware that there's underperformance or whatever it may be, then my initial thought goes to, okay, there's a misalignment somewhere, and it's probably in the foundation, potentially in team culture. And that's the one side. The other side is, if I can actually physically see that, okay, you're not telling this story right, you're not placing yourself adequately in the right market. If I can see those things, then my brain is like, why? Is that because you don't have the right team? Is that because someone's trying to do everything at one time? There's so many questions that go round and round, and the only way to really find the answers is to ask. And ultimately, that's how my brain works. It's one of two things. If I can see what the problem is, and I ask the question of, okay, why that is, and that will also come down to the back end and the things that we can't see, the things that aren't being put out there. And normally what I would do, if it's a brand that really interests me, I'll kind of go on their site and have a look and look at where, things could be improved. And I had a conversation with a brand actually that was like, they're, they're sitting quite nicely in the market in terms of what they put out, but sales have dropped significantly. But in the sector that they're in, it shouldn't. It should be steady, if not above. And when I looked into it in more depth, it was, okay, you have all of this stock, you have all of these beautiful pieces, but they're hidden. There's no story behind it. You're not linking it to the current trends in the current market. I remember it was around Fashion Week and all these trends came out. And it's like, why are you not pushing this product? Why has this not become the center when this is what people want? And it was just opportunities that were missed that were so easy to pick up. But when you are doing so many things at one time and you are in control of all these touch points, it's really hard to always catch everything. And that's why sometimes you just need that extra help and those extra eyes.
What has multiple rejections taught you that a successful yes never could?
This is easy. Every no, every rejection, every door closed means that it wasn't for me and there's something waiting. And no matter how long it takes, I've said it before, as long as I persevere, the right door will open. The right yes will say yes, and I will be exactly where I am supposed to be. And to me, all it means is ensuring that I do everything I can myself to put my best foot forward, to improve my skills, to become a better person so that the closer and closer I get to that door being opened, I'm more ready. I think some of the time, I think maybe that door that's closed is closed for right now. Not every door is closed permanently. Some are because they're just not for you. But some are just closed temporarily until you get to that point. So it's making sure that I do all I can to get to that point where I can say, okay, this door is now open because I'm now ready to conquer. So yeah, I don't take rejection as a negative thing. I do take it personally, but more so like, okay, yeah, this wasn't for you. And that's it. It's as simple as that, but there's something greater. So yeah, it definitely has built me up instead of tearing me down. And I'm grateful for that because I know that it can affect a lot of people in the opposite way. But because I know that I'm destined for greatness one way or another, I know that every door closed just means I'm getting closer for the right door to be opened.
What type of person, team, or company will you absolutely not work well with?
I'd say anyone that is driven by their ego and anyone that is driven solely by money. Those two things don't mix, and that's not someone that I would want to work with. I understand that every brand, including myself as a brand, you live in a world where you need to make money to pay bills and to live a certain lifestyle. I understand that. And, money in the right hands is a powerful tool for positive change and impact. So I'm definitely not against it. But I just think if you're only driven by that, if that is your only driving force, then you will fall because it's just, for me, I've been around that and it's so toxic. And ego, like, you have to put your ego aside. You have to be humble, especially in business. And that's not to say that that's not a weakness. That's not to say that, you know, you don't take pride in the things that you do or you're not confident. Not at all. But that humility is a quality that many people fail to emulate, and it can be seen and it can really tear companies apart. And I've seen it happen firsthand. In regards to like a big company, I guess, I won't stay in a team that thrives off negativity and gossip and that has no intention of fixing misalignment. Now, I say I won't stay. I'm not saying I wouldn't work with that team because I feel like there's a lot that I could implement in that to help the culture grow and create a positive space. However, you have to want to change that. You have to, as individuals coming together as a team, you have to want growth. You have to want change. And if I can see that I am in a space where these people don't want it, I will not work with you because it's draining and you're not helping me, I'm not helping you, and I will cut ties. But yeah, there's not many people that I won't work with as long as you have good intentions, as long as you know what you want and there's a lot more depth to it than just surface, then I'm all here for it.
In a world where money wasn't the driver, what work would you still choose to do every day?
I don't think I would allow money to stop me from doing the things that I would do now anyway. But if I could do it full time and not need to pay bills, I would just help people. And I have my heart really is connected to those that are without homes and to specifically young girls that are in danger. And that's just, I guess, a personal connection in some respect. But also, I believe that everyone should have a home. We live in a world where it's ridiculous that people don't have homes, and every little girl should be safe from predators and abuse and all of that. And obviously there's so many other things, but if I could do one thing or two things that, I didn't need money and I could just go in the world and do it, it would be saving little girls and building homes for those that need it and providing a program that not just gives someone a home, but allows them to keep that home and to build a life. I know not everyone wants it. Not everyone, not a lot of people, but there are a few people that are choosing their life, a homeless life, because of what they experienced at home that was probably a lot worse. But I would like to think that if offered the right opportunity, if offered the right help that comes from a very real place, that their lives could be transformed. So I think that's what I would do. I would just spend my days building homes and programs that they can like rebuild their life and saving little girls all around the world. It's not to say that I wouldn't do that now, even with having to, you know, have a job for to pay bills, but there's a lot that it takes to build homes, and I guess that's what I'm working towards.
Tell me about a time you handled a difficult
Mhm.
customer or client.
Gosh, there's so many times I've had difficult customers, especially working in retail. Honestly, it's beyond me. And working with different people, I guess, you don't always get along with people and you're just different. But I'm trying to think of one particular time where I dealt with a difficult customer or client. You know what? I have to take it back to my retail days because I remember a time when a customer wanted a refund, but we didn't offer a refund on certain garments. And it says it on the receipt, it says it on the label. But this customer was adamant for a refund. My staff members called me over because she was becoming aggressive, and I calmly explained to her the policy as they already had, which I know can be patronizing, but I needed to tell her the policy. And she was shouting and effing and blinding and threatening. And of course, security was called, but I think empathy a lot of the time because you just don't know what people are going through. I learned that being in retail for so long, I learned that this person that is attacking me verbally, a lot of the time it has nothing to do with me. She's frustrated at something else that may have happened that day, that week, and it's really not about me. And I recognized that in that moment. And I was like, look, I completely understand your frustration, but it's just not something we can do. And I gave her the number to head office and just kind of spoke to her. I didn't allow her abuse to in any way penetrate. And I think that calmed her down because I think if I would have met her with the same aggression, it would have been something that could have turned into something none of us wanted. But because I met her with empathy and was trying my best to help her, but still being very firm on the fact that this is something that is not going to change, she had no choice but to come down, and we dealt with that. Following on from that, I have dealt with difficult people in the workplace constantly. People that in my day-to-day life I would never surround myself with because of the negativity, there's just so many things. But I am aware that when I am in a job, in a role, that ultimately what we are there for should be the same thing. It's to carry this business one way or another, whatever department we are in, we are carrying it. And I think as you mature and you work for as long as you do, you realize that that's all that matters. I can be amicable with everyone. Hi, bye. How are you? Good, thank you. That's it. We don't have to have long conversations. And the only time we do talk is when it's about to do with work. I think people go into workplaces and environments and think that everyone has to be their best friend. No, you just need mutual respect and knowledge of whatever it is that you're doing. And that comes together when necessary. And then that is it. So although I have experienced difficult customers, clients, colleagues, all the days of my life, I haven't allowed that to interfere with my work because I'm not a blossoming friendship. If that comes, that's fantastic, but that's not what I'm there for. So I won't allow that to in any way affect what my goal is. And I haven't found that anyone else has allowed it to affect that. Like, as long as there's that mutual respect of you are here to do your job, I'm here to do my job, then that's all that matters.
What's one thing a CV can never communicate about you?
Just how hard I work, just how dedicated I am to any role that I step into, regardless of what it is. Obviously, a CV doesn't show your work, it shows certain credentials. It fails to really hold everything that goes into every role. Like, a few bullet points here and there is nothing. That doesn't even cover one day in the life of a e-commerce director or a sales manager. It just doesn't. And I understand that, as someone that has hired people based on their CVs or not hired them based on their CVs, I understand that it's a process and a system that we are all familiar with. And I guess to a certain degree, it's one of the ways or one of the best ways to hire someone. I mean, I don't think it is one of the best ways, but it is all we have known. So I understand it. But I have found that a lot of people present so much better in person. And also there are people that don't present well in person, but are excellent at the job. And the way that I have determined that myself is by gauging their character. And I'm talking about like years ago when people used to actually come in and give in their CVs, and you used to actually meet them. And I could kind of always pick up whether, oh, you could potentially be a good candidate. Just based on the very short interaction we had in person. And that even before me looking at their CV. And then I look at their CV and it's like, oh, and she's done this or he's done that. So I just think, yes, there are credentials on there and there are things that, you don't always get to talk about, like qualifications, trainings that you've done that, is not always asked about, you don't get to talk about. But my CV will never showcase the person I am and my character. And I think when you're hiring anyone to do anything, professional, whatever it is, character has to be the number one thing, because qualifications are great and skills are fantastic and they are needed. But if someone doesn't have the right character, then all of that goes out the window.
How would people describe you?
How would I describe Marina?
Marina is genuinely one of the most dedicated people I've ever worked with. Her attention to detail is second to none, and she brings the perfect blend of data-driven thinking and commercial intuition to every challenge.
As a person, she's really strong-willed. Like, if she's determined to do something, she'll do it. She's really brave. I think she's really brave.
Everything she does is rooted in a real passion, and it shows in the impact that she makes across the businesses she works for.
The Marina I know is genuinely an honest person. She's creative in absolutely everything she does. For me, she's been a voice of reason. She clearly inspires everyone that she comes in contact with. And whilst we experience different versions of people, I believe she's consistent across the board.
What parts of you are non-negotiable, even if it costs you opportunities?
I would just say simply, I would never compromise my values, my beliefs for any opportunity. No one will ever make me turn against what I believe and who created me and what I was created to do, to fit into a narrative or to conform to whatever ideologies are a part of that potential company or person. I show every single person respect based on them being a human being. And I expect that same respect. And if that can't be done, then I don't want the opportunity. I don't care what it is, who it is. As long as you can respect the person that I am and know that I'm coming in to help elevate, to support, to be light, and to share my skills and my knowledge and wisdom to help grow whatever it is that I'm doing. As long as you can accept that, then we're all good to go. But if you can't because you want me to compromise something that I truly believe in, then it's never going to work.
How do you want people to feel after interacting with you or your work?
Oh, that's a really good question. I want people to feel like they gained something. I want people to feel like they learned something. I want people to feel supported. I want people to feel like they can now do because of the interaction, because of the work that I've done, because of what I've laid out for them. I want people to feel empowered and to feel like not only can they succeed and conquer in their own field, but they can then go on to help someone else because of the work that I've done with them, for them. Yeah, I just want everything that I do to have a positive impact that drives people forward. That is the goal, that is the purpose. And also that every single person that I work with or company that I work with, I truly want them to get so much out of it, so much so that if they feel that they aren't, to be brave enough to tell me so that it's something that I can work on and fix, because I am ultimately a fixer. And I realized that really recently that, when you're thinking about, what do you offer and what do you do? I'm a fixer. I like to get in, like, hands dirty and just fix things. So if something's not working, then I really hope that every single person that I work with tells me that I just don't feel like this is working, so that I can challenge myself and really look at how I can help, because not everything will fit everyone, but you only learn by communication and people actually having the guts to tell you that, this isn't working. And it may be that it's not working because of that person, but it's also may not be working because I'm not giving what I need to give to that person. So I really want to always have a open line of communication that allows me to grow and the person to grow also.
What kind of impact do you want to leave behind?
Oh, this is like a legacy question. I think it kind of ties into how I want people to feel when working with me. I want to leave an imprint in this world of positivity and light, and that you're never too good to help someone, and everyone needs help, and we are here to serve and to help people. And I really hope that the impact that I have on this world is that I did all I could when I could, no matter how small, how big, to help people, to help organizations, and in doing so transformed lives for the better. Even if I was just a small fraction of help, or even if I was working with someone else who helped, like, I just want to leave an impact of help. I was a big help because so many people need help in ways that we don't even know, and it takes the smallest thing, and I really want to be someone that helps. You can find a couple PDFs in the description. Just a few frameworks that I've constructed if you want to have a look. And also you can email me, marina@mltconsultancy.com. Otherwise, you can just reach out, DM, whatever it may be, and we can have a chat and get to know each other.